So I'm actually very excited about this video. I have been feeling very nostalgic lately about this channel. We have been doing this for 10 years. 10 years. I think my first video ever was uploaded in March 2015, if I'm not mistaken. So it's incredible to think it has been 10 years of this channel. And I really wanted to take a moment today, first of all, to thank you all for still being here, those of you who are still here. But I feel like I have a lot of freedom now that I finally reached my 30s. So I turned 30 this year. And I feel like I have a lot of freedom to now, talk about advice for students from the perspective of someone who has been working a job for a long time and now looks at the education system, all of my years in college, and I look at all of that with such a different perspective. And so today I want to talk about my advice for students at this stage in my life, which is so different from all the advice that I gave 10 years ago. So let's get started. Okay, so tip number 1, do not cut corners in your education. I know college students have a lot of work. The workload is absurd. It's gigantic. The bad news is you are going to need that knowledge later on. Do not rely on generative AI. Once again,
do not rely on generative AI.
I'm not going to go through all of the ethical reasons why it's bad, all of the environmental reasons why Gen AI is bad. I am not an advocate of Gen AI, and this video is not going to be about that. And please do not try to use the comment section below to convince me that it's good, because you're not going to convince me that it's good, because it's not. My point is, the thing with Gen AI is that it completely dulls your mind. It does not allow you to actually acquire the knowledge that you are supposed to acquire when you are in school. And people need to understand that. When you leave college and you go to the job market, people are going to require you to have that knowledge. There will be many situations in your life when you're going to be asked a question and you're not going to be able to tell that person,
wait a minute, I'm just going to consult ChatGPT for a moment before I provide an answer.
You are not going to be able to do this. You will have to answer and you'll have to be knowledgeable. And knowledge is not a static thing. It needs to build up in your brain over time for you to be a good professional. So do not cut corners, do not rely on Gen AI to do your work for you, your essays, your lecture summaries, whatever it is. Use your mind, please, for God's sake. Understand that in all moments of your career, there will be a balance between your degree of specialization in a specific area and your overall knowledge of that area. What I mean by this is we tend to try as much as possible to specialize or to go in depth into an area of knowledge that we're particularly passionate about. And that is really important because you do want to have that sort of specialty component in your curriculum. You do want to be knowledgeable in one area where you go really in depth. At the same time, you need to remember that usually one area of knowledge in whatever field we are talking about, it is inserted in the middle of more areas of knowledge, and you do need to know how all of those work together to know how your own area of expertise works as well. So if we were applying this in the legal field, where I work, this means that I am specialized in a specific area, that is financial law. That does not mean that I do not know how all of the other areas, all of the other fields of law work together, and that will maximize my knowledge on my own field of expertise. I know this may sound a bit abstract, but I did make it sound abstract because lots of people will be watching this video, and of course that I cannot use examples for every single one area of knowledge, but overall, I'm pretty sure this will apply to you too. Another thing that, as an introvert, it is still very difficult for me to accept is that networking is an integral part of your career. Now, when I say networking, I mean literally every single bit. I'm talking career fairs, I'm talking networking with your professors, fellow students, everyone that somehow has to do with your career, you should network with them. You should have at least a polite relationship with those people. The bad news is, once you get out of college, and of course this totally depends on where you live, Portugal is quite a small country, you will probably find those people again in your life. They might become your boss. They might become like this very close colleague that you have and you'll have to deal with every single day. They might become your client. It is really important for you to remember that your college experience isn't static, it's dynamic. It's going to overspill beyond your college halls. You are going to see those people again. You want to ensure you have at least a polite relationship with them. I'm not telling you to be friends with everyone. That's not feasible and probably not recommended. So remember that whatever happens, it is really important to keep a close or good relationship or polite relationship with people in your area of expertise because you're probably going to meet them again. Tip number 4, get very, very comfortable asking questions. Once again, as an introvert, this is so difficult for me to accept because I do hate any sort of participation, speaking during meetings. I hate asking questions. I hate sounding dumb. I really do, even when I'm not supposed to. And when I look back, I wasn't being dumb, but it just feels that way in my head. I really hate that, so I do understand the feeling. However, the sort of questions you ask in college, they will be so low stakes. They are so low stakes. When you ask a question in college, you are supposed to be asking questions. Everyone expects you to ask questions because you are a student. So no one will really frown upon the fact that you have questions on a specific subject or that you want to speak a little bit about something that it's not really clear. When you get to the workplace, the questions will become high stakes. Anytime you pose a question, you are showing that you do not know as much as that subject as you probably should, or perhaps you didn't pay as much attention in a meeting as you were supposed to. So you are going to feel much more pressured into asking questions, but a lot of the times you will have to, and this really fosters a good team dynamic, for instance. So the more comfortable you are with just embracing feeling dumb when asking a question and embracing having all those eyes on you during a lecture when you ask a question, that is so important and it will serve you so well once you get out of college. Another really good tip that I have for you is say yes to things. Embrace stuff that kind of scares you and probably doesn't really have to do with exactly how you were envisioning your college path to be or your college career to go. Sometimes people pivot to really interesting things by saying yes to challenging opportunities, by saying yes to things that sound difficult and sound very scary. I do believe that when I look back at my college years, all my most interesting experiences happened because I felt compelled to saying yes to something that was scaring me and really putting me out of my comfort zone. My comfort zone is really tiny, by the way. It's really like this really small box where I'm just sitting on a couch, curled up with a book. That's my comfort zone. So anything outside of this particular scenario is very scary for me. And I was able to do a lot of that, including starting this YouTube channel. So we're all coming full cycle here. This was a very scary experience. It still is. I'm speaking to you right now with this camera on and I'm feeling perceived and it's terrifying. At the same time, it did really open a lot of career paths for me, including a very interesting interview when I was applying for the job that I currently have. And I applied for this job 6 years ago. I still hold this current job. And most of my interview was about this YouTube channel because people found it so interesting. So once again, even if something looks a bit like you're deviating too much from the original path, and if it sounds scary, just take the opportunity. You will learn to say no later on, but college is such a nice playground for you to try out new stuff and see what fits, what doesn't fit, what resonates, what doesn't resonate. Sometimes the things that you theoretically think are going to resonate with you are actually the things that you try them out and then you're like, oh, not really, I don't really like this. So yeah, Try new things. Tip number 7, try to manage your time like it's money. This is so important. Besides your knowledge on a subject, time management is probably going to be one of the things that will differentiate you the most in the job market. The way you're able to commit to a deadline, the way you're able to look at a project and keep track of, milestones, for instance, and deadlines, and understand how much time you will need to accomplish a certain task. The way you communicate this to your team, your supervisor, this is so important because it's what makes you a reliable worker. This is something anyone can do, and you can start fostering this today as a student. Really understanding how much effort and how much time you need to complete a certain task. The thing here is not being faster. So I'm not telling you to be a faster student when it comes to memorizing or writing or whatever. The key here is to know, to predict how long you will take doing something. And this may vary a lot from person to person. I'm quite a fast person in general doing things. Drafting things, for instance, I'm a pretty fast drafter, but I'm really slow at other things, for instance. And I know that. So when I'm communicating a deadline, I take into account all of that previous knowledge of how I work. And so no one is surprised when I communicate a deadline. People know what to expect, and they will know that the work will be done in time, on time, in time, on time. So start managing your time like it's money. Know what's beneficial for you, what's not beneficial for you. Track all of that to make sure that you start keeping a sort of a history with yourself so you know how to communicate that in the future. Okay, finally, this is my favorite piece of advice ever. This applies to every single thing in life. It does not only apply to college, to, working wherever, to being a parent, to being a friend, it applies to every single experience I've encountered so far. No one knows what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing, or at least 90% of people do not know what they're doing. You will find lots of people in your life who really seem like they understand what they're doing, and that they're in control of the situation, and that they're handling everything really well, and that they're so knowledgeable about something, or that they're never second guessing or questioning their actions, their tasks, their way of doing something. And this is so important. Remember, no one knows what they're doing. You'll find a lot of teachers, a lot of professors who seem so self-assured about their knowledge, and in their minds, they're screaming during the class because they're afraid of you to ask a certain question from a specific topic they do not master that well. You will go into the job market and you will find people who work with you and look like experts in their field, and they have no idea what they're talking about sometimes, but they learn how to fake it. And in a way, you are going to learn that skill as well, and that is a very important skill. It's a bit like the whole fake it till you make it. The problem is that a lot of people just stick to the faking part. They never really make it because they learn to fake it so well. They're like, it doesn't matter if I actually learn this thing because everyone thinks I know about this, right? So it's important to be able to go to the make it part. But most importantly, I think, remember that whenever you're feeling imposter syndrome, and this happens so much in college and once you leave college as well, you're going to feel so much imposter syndrome. You're going to wonder, does everyone hate me? Does everyone think that I'm dumb? How can I actually hold this job? I don't know what I'm doing. This happens a lot, but the most important thing is it happens to everyone. So your experience is universal. And once you realize your experience is universal, you'll also realize that's okay. Feeling a little bit dumb is perfectly fine. Everyone is feeling the exact same way. And if everyone is doing well, I can do well feeling this way as well. It's a lot about insecurity, anxiety. There will never be a point where you're going to feel 100% certain of anything. You're always going to wonder, what am I doing? This happened so much to me as a mom. Sometimes I'm looking at my son, he's now 2.5 years. Time goes by very, very quickly. He's now 2 years and a half, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, I'm his mom. I'm a mom. I'm educating a person. I'm raising a person. How on earth did this happen? How am I raising a person? This is unbelievable. So this will happen a lot after you leave college, feeling like you don't know how you are in a certain situation, how you got there, how will you survive it? You will survive it. And everyone is going through the same. So every single time you really respect someone, or you really look up to someone, or you even idolize someone, always remember that top student, that professor, that really incredible expert in my field of knowledge, they go through a lot of imposter syndrome as well. They go through a lot of insecurity as well. I'm just like them. And they're just like me. So it's fine. I'm going to get there anyway as well. And yeah, that's pretty much those are my tips to survive college. Those are my tips for college students. You know, if you go back to my oldest videos, you are going to find the note-taking tips, you are going to find the time management techniques, you are going to find the organization methods. I really do not want to repeat myself all the time. That content is still available. You can still watch that content. It's still there. I'm not deleting that content for you. I still swear by at least most of the things that I've said in the past. I actually very recently went through all of my videos and I privated a lot of videos that I do not agree with anymore, techniques that I defended back then and I really do not defend anymore. Most of the content in my channel is updated. So if you want more like the nitty-gritty technical details of how to study, you know, how to go from passive studying to active studying, how to read a textbook really well, different note-taking techniques, you have all of that content available. But what I'm telling you right now, this is the golden stuff. This is the stuff that you're going to need, because all of those note-taking methods, you're not going to use them anymore once you leave college. You're not going to have enough time to upkeep super detailed databases. You're just going to go into sort of survival mode to climb that career ladder or build a business, as I did before. All I have left to do now is wish you good luck for this upcoming year, and we'll speak soon. Kittle is a super easy to use design platform right in your browser, and it honestly feels like it was made for anyone, including students. You get pro-level tools like text effects, vector editing, and templates, but without having to spend hours learning complicated software. It's perfect for all of your projects, your presentations, or even just making your notes and planners look aesthetic. I actually made the planner you're seeing right here in Kittle, exported it into my iPad, and started filling out with my Apple Pencil. I could also print it out if I preferred the feeling of pen on paper. It was super quick to customize and you can completely make it fit your own style. And of course, as usual, I went for a minimalistic aesthetic. With Kittle, you can design anything like posters for class, social posts, merch, or even a clean resume. You can use thousands of resources such as templates, fonts, graphics, stock photos, mock-ups, you name it. You can export everything easily for print or digital, so it's perfect for your handouts, slides, or your online projects. You can collaborate in real time as well, so it's great for group assignments or club projects. And of course, you can stay safe. Everything comes with clear licensing, so no worries about copyright. The best part is that you can try Kittle for free. If you use my code, the one you're seeing on the screen right now, you'll get a 25% discount on all Kittle plans, including annual as well for new users.